Welcome back to Loreluna and Turnip's adventures on Teldrassil. Yesterday, Luna took care of a few satyr problems. The bigger Firbolg threat still needs attention. We need to stop them before they disturb the druids currently traversing the Emerald Dream. Loreluna is still exhausted despite the night's rest in Dunnellon. Terrible dark dreams filled her head all night long. Let's hope she can remember all the relics she needs to grab from Benethel Borrowed Den. Luckily, the sentinels are letting us ride a night saber to the entrance of the den, allowing us to save some energy. Night sabers weren't always domesticated animals. The sentinels were the first to tame the creatures in numbers. They are considered one of the creatures specifically blessed by Elune. Their silver and black pelts make them the perfect moonlit predators. While these sabers are the standard companions for night elves, there are frost sabers, dawn sabers, mist sabers, and storm sabers in the animal family. Frost sabers live a really long time. Tyranda's mount, Ashala, has lived almost 10,000 years. The frost saber queen, Shiro Tam, has lived for almost 4,000. We're not really sure if this also affects night saber lifespans as well. The night elves were superstitious about dawn sabers, viewing them as a bad omen because they didn't have the silver and black pelt blessing of Elune. Some theorize that mist sabers are an experiment on night sabers, which is why they have a misty coat instead of a dark one. And storm sabers are named after Malfurion Stormrage, but nothing is specifically known about their origin. Our sentinel companion speaks. Need some help finding your way? I know this place like the back of my hand. The gnarlpine shaman that inhabit this place have discovered a way of separating a sleeping druid's spirit from the physical body. The Firbolgs have animated my physical form and are using it to attack anyone that attempts to explore the Benethel Borrowed Den. I am now trapped in the Emerald Dream, powerless to stop this. You must help me. The gnarlpine shaman carry a strange charm, which is used to perform this ritual. I'd like you to examine it. Please, Loreluna, bring one to me. Loreluna is incredibly relieved to have the sentinel with her. Considering how bad her sleep was, she wouldn't be a very good fighter, alone today. Now, this is where the relics are kept, in order to perform the awakening ceremony for all of the druids. My question is, where are all of the druids sleeping? Weren't they sleeping here too? Oben Rageclaw's body seems to have been here, and that's why he was targeted by the Firbolgs. So where is everyone else? Did they already get attacked? If so, then what's the point of us grabbing all of these relics? I don't know. I suppose there's a possibility that they are also here, but in a separate area that we can't access? Hopefully, they guard people better when they're in this comatose state in the Emerald Dream. You would think that the Firbolgs wouldn't be able to just stroll on in and take over. Though then the question is, why was Oben Rageclaw's body here to be tampered with? Maybe the druids are sleeping here, but the Firbolgs haven't had time to do multiple rituals on the sleeping druids. They were just able to do one. So we just learned cat form. Shapeshifting is essential for druids, and shows their bond and understanding of nature, and the creatures in it. The forms adopted by druids come from the animal kingdom as a whole, but some of the forms we adopt have wild gods at their heads. Cats have a wild god named Ashmane. The role of the wild gods isn't set in stone, so each one behaves according to their nature. Ashmane doesn't have a large pack of cats she wanders with, and actually struggled accepting immortality bestowed on wild gods. She didn't even embrace the Emerald Dream like the other wild gods did, instead preferring for the first part of her life to hide in the jungles, teasing the wolves and the trolls. Ashmane eventually embraced the Emerald Dream, but not long after joined the fight against the Burning Legion during the War of the Ancients. Ashmane's physical body died during that fight. Specifically, she was fighting the Pit Lord Ronikon. Ashmain now lives in the Emerald Dream. We finished our quest, so we'll head back and turn into Open Rageclaw. If I can examine the charm, I may be able to figure out how to break the enchantment. Have you found one? Thank you, Loreluna. What an odd trinket this is. I can sense the vile aura emanating from it. This is a very powerful enchantment. After examining this charm, Loreluna, I see now what must be done. Please take it and do as I ask. You are to approach the door to the nearby chamber. Inside you will find my soulless body. Although I regret what I am about to tell you, I see no other way to free myself from the control of the Gnarlpine. In order for me to escape them, you must kill my physical form. Once that is done, use the voodoo charm on my fallen body. After you have completed this task, please return to me. This is a sad task that we must do. Killing his physical form means he probably won't be able to come back. Though this really is the exact thing that happened to Ashmain. Her physical body died, and she wanders the Emerald Dream. I suspect that Oben will also be able to wander the Emerald Dream for the rest of his days. I am now free of the control of the Gnarlpine. Thank you, Loreluna. My spirit may now rest peacefully forever in the Emerald Dream. Perhaps one day we may meet again, young druid, but for now, please accept this reward as a symbol of my gratitude. That concludes our time in the Benethel Hollow Den. Loreluna was able to accomplish all the tasks that she needed, despite being cranky today. Loreluna, the kidnapped Druids of the Talon will be forever trapped in the Emerald Dream if we cannot retrieve the relics of awakening from Benethel Barrow Den to the west. For every minute we delay their fate comes one step closer to eternal doom. Now the time has come to save the Druids of the Talon. If we fail now, Loreluna, they will be forever lost in sleep. I shall prepare the relics of awakening and perform the ritual. For my work to take effect, the cursed beast responsible for this horrible situation must be slain. It was Ursel the Mauler who meddled with our brethren's calling, and it is Ursel the Mauler who must now pay so they can be freed. Travel northwest to the road and find the path north into the cleft. Ursel's den will be there. Impressive. I hope my huntress carried her weight. If we continue with this fervor, we may yet still free Teldrassil from the corruption that Alexstrasza herself could not burn out. Alright, so that really clears up the whole question of where the Druids went from Benethel Barrow Den. They were kidnapped and taken to a different place. And now we're gonna go free their physical bodies while the other Druid wakes up their spirits with the relics that we just retrieved. The female sentinel that we talked to, Kyra Starsong, also mentions that the Red Dragon Alexstrasza tried to help cleanse Teldrassil of corruption, despite initially not being willing to help grow the tree. Loreluna also doesn't have the energy to argue with her chauffeur today, so he's gonna be taking us up there. We'd really only just be getting in a fight, and he's just trying to do his job. The road to Darnassus must be kept safe. Corrupted furbolgs from the Gnarlpine tribe have been attacking travelers relentlessly. Important news and commerce travels to and from Darnassus by way of this road daily. We cannot afford to have a rogue band of heathens terrorizing people. Take up arms in the name of the sacred forest druid. Their den lies up this northern path. Slay these Gnarlpine ambushers and report back to me. Alright, so these sentinels want us to go kill the furbolgs up this hill. Loreluna is struggling to understand why they need us to do it. They have lightsabers, they have bows, probably spears. There are 2 of them. How many furbolgs are up here? 10? Why don't they and their lazy lightsabers charge up the hill, poke all the furbolgs with their spears, and finish this ordeal? Why are they making a young druid and her tired turnip run up this steep hill to free all of these trapped druids? We faced the burning legion for Elun's sake, and they can't kill 10 furbolgs? Exhaustion rage! Okay, well, freeing the druids that transformed and flew away was pretty rewarding, I guess. And now it's finished. No more furbolgs. Hopefully we can get on with studying the plants on Teldrassil now. Loreluna, you have proven yourself a most worthy and able druid. A night elf who follows the path of honor as sure as you do is certain to find great glory in this world. Ursul's death brings a safety to our once slumbering druids, but the source of his corruption yet remains within our forests. With time, I trust that you will find this evil and cleanse it for the sake of all of our people. You are destined for great things, young druid. Are you heading south to the lake of Alameth? If so, then I have a task I might ask of you. My colleague Dunnellon has a camp along the eastern end of the lake, where he is studying and experimenting on the plant life of Teldrassil. He requested a package of rare earths from Darnassus, and it was late, only recently arriving here in Dunnellon. Can you take the package to him? This is very exciting. We're finally going to get into plants. Loreluna always cheers up when we talk about historical plants. So let's discuss our world trees. We've learned about Teldrassil, our current world tree, and Nordrassil, our belated world tree. But before those 2 were planted, there existed a mother tree named Kinnear. The knowledge surrounding Kinnear is not very clear. We know for sure it was not in the mortal realm, and that it was the wild god Aviana's favorite place to be. We'll take a break from our tree history and turn in the rare earth to Dunnellon. He's excited about it. He's going to plant it right away. Now the soil doesn't really look like anything special, but he's going to want to do some experiments with the plant life with it. The timberlings of Teldrassil are elementals of nature. In some ways, they reflect the natural order of plants and animals on our great tree, so it is disturbing to see how angry the timberlings are, particularly considering that things should be healing. I want to help hunt down the source. I have been working on different methods of nurturing plants and would like to try them on timberling seeds. Please, can you gather seeds from the timberlings around Lake Alameth and bring them to me? The second quest states that some of the seeds have already sprouted around the lake, and those are beyond help, so we have to kill them. So back to the mother tree Kinnear and Aviana. It said that Kinnear was in Aviana's domain, and it was where all the flying creatures went after death, to fly among its branches. I believe this means Aviana's domain and Kinnear were both in the Emerald Dream, in a portion set aside as Aviana's territory. Kinnear held the seeds of every type of tree found on Azeroth. Alas, Kinnear is no longer. During the War of the Ancients, Aviana fought valiantly. The information is a little fuzzy on how it happened, but Aviana appeared to die. After her death, the mother tree also died. Aviana, however, was still able to fly over the battlefield and report the events back to the wild god leader, Cenarius. This is most likely because Aviana's spirit is tied to the Emerald Dream. Like all the wild gods, they can't truly be killed because their spirits are linked to a different realm. Aviana most likely lost her physical form and could no longer fight, but could still watch and report. Despite Aviana's spirit remaining, Kinnear was lost. But Alexstrasza, the Red Dragon Queen, held a seed from the mother tree. This was the seed used to create Nordrassil, once the War of Ancients was over. This is really just what Loreluna and Turnip needed after a bad night's sleep. walking off the beaten path, dealing with rogue plant life. It's really the heart of their calling. So Loreluna is heading over to that glowing pink growth over there. Turnip isn't very happy about it. You know those family members you have that you see at gatherings and you seriously attempt to avoid because you know that they're going to ask you awkward questions? As if they really need to know the answer to those questions. They only see you twice a year, so why do they even need to know? That's the relationship Turnip has with that plant over there. Bad news botany. He's getting tense already. Despite Turnip's fidgeting, it looks like this plant has something to give us. It's a giant piece of fruit, so we're gonna head back to Dunnellon and give it to him so he can study it. Herbalism is a pretty good profession, in general, even if I wasn't Loreluna. You can find it pretty frequently, and two professions use it heavily, so it sells pretty well. There's this weird plant here. He's a different color than everybody else. You can see the silver dragon around his nameplate too. That means he's rare, and will probably drop some sort of gear item for me. He dropped pants. And a quest item. The heart of black moss the fetid is covered with a dark oily moss. In fact, the only way to tell this is a heart is from its slow rhythmic beat, a beat that continues even now. Perhaps Dunnellon will want to see this heart. Oh man, can you imagine putting that in your backpack and it keeps beating on your back as you're running? Ick. So before we head back to Dunnellon with our icky mossy heart and our forbidden fruit and all the little seedlings, I would like to maybe appreciate the height and majesty of Teldrassil by looking over its branches. Now of course my chauffeur is not going to let me do that alone because it's way too dangerous. So I'll have to bring him along, and we will speed it up as we head up to the branches to look over onto the world. Looks like there's another furball camp up here. We're just gonna ignore them. Driving with my chauffeur motorcycle on Teldrassil's branches tells you that this is one big tree. Can't really see a whole lot as we look over the edge here, but we can see in the distance a really big tree. Another one. We'll have to go visit that one once we get off of this tree. I'm trying to figure out what tree I'm looking at. I don't really know. Maybe it's in Moonglade? We'll have to go hunting. Moonglade is like the Druid sanctuary of the world. I mean, Teldrassil kind of counts as that, but this is where all of the Night Elf community is, not just the Druids. I think we eventually get to go to Moonglade as a Druid for one of our quests. So hopefully we can talk more about it when we actually get to visit. Oh yeah, look at this cool white cat. Dusk Stalker. I bet he's gonna drop some gear for me too. Alright, looks like I got bear form too. Bear form is inspired by the wild god Ursok. So we'll head back to Dunnellon and turn in all of the plant parts that we've collected, see what he can do with them. So Dunnellon states that he's going to be using the seeds that we collected to try to understand where the corruption stems from. He's hoping that if he plants these seeds in the special soil, that they'll come out as timberlings who are much more docile. so we'll be able to watch that. He then sends us on our way to our next quest destination, Wellspring Hovel. We're supposed to deliver a seed sample to one of his friends, Relian Greenspire, who's interested in the Timberling work and has some ideas on other experiments to do with them as well. The fruit that we found on the tree that Terrible Turnip didn't like very much appears to be exotic. It came from some far-away land, as far as Azeroth, which, by the way, we're on Azeroth, so I don't know. It appears to have reacted strangely with the soil on Teldrassil, so he's going to study it further.
Goddess, watch over me.
Let's see how these seeds grow in my prepared soil. Kill! 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 I mean, I know these guys are trying to kill me, but they're really cute. I bet you can get one as a pet. I should check. Though I don't really know if Terrible Turnip would like the competition or not. So we also gave him that disgusting, moss-covered, beating heart that was in our backpack. Luckily he wasn't too grossed out by it, and he removed most of the moss, and it looks like it's a seed. It does still look like it's tainted though, so we're going to put it in the soil bed to see if that fixes it. After we do so, we place the heart inside the planter, and it says it quickly digs itself in. A few seconds later, it wiggles back out, cleansed. It pulses slightly, beckoning for you to take it. That's yucky. Well, before we head over to our next quest hub, I think it's time to take a little rest over here on the dock. I think Loreluna will be camping out here tonight, resting beneath the stars to recoup from that terrible nightmare night. I'll put up the timeline as promised. We talked more about the culture of the Night Elves than actual historical data points. We talked about the wild gods, Aviana and Ashamain. We also talked about our Nightsaber mounts and our mother tree Kinnear. So no data points, just filling in some informational background on the War of Ancients, where the wild gods fought. With more information to come, Loreluna is signing out.